have our panelists in the house this morning who will help us understand what exactly those factors are and also help you decide what you should look out for and whom you should vote for. Factors that will determine the next president is our topic this morning. Mr. Enito Josimi, who is an economist and a political analyst, has joined us in the studio to help us understand what those factors are. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, I would like to ask you, I know you have where your heart is, but we'll ask you to be dispassionate in answering this question. Now, just looking round, and from all that you've heard thus far, from the APC, the PDP, who were in Lagos yesterday for a rally, the Labour Party as well, and somewhere lurking around the corner, SDP, NNPP as well. What has stood out for you, especially when it comes to that exalted position in Nigeria, the president's seat?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me. Permit me to tweak with the topic a little. You know, the factors that will determine the next president. Let us consider the factors that will not determine the next president. Because we have seen candidates campaign on different motives and different broad agenda. Age will not determine the next president. We've seen many candidates saying, see, I'm younger, so I am agile. I am better off than the major candidates that are either in their 60s or in their 70s. So vote for me for that reason. We say no. No. Agility has its advantage, no doubt. But agility is mostly required in sports. That is why at 40, you are considered too old for some sports. Even the greatest of the game are begin to consider hanging your boots now, you are getting old. But as far as governance is concerned, what people will consider is your know-how. And youth of today, you would observe that they appear to be allergic to coordination and proper organization. It's more like they abhor and detest the patience that requires in building a structure. And we say structure, not just political structure, even business structure, even investment structure. That is why we are mostly the victims of Ponzi, because get rich quick syndrome, because we lack the patience of building a structure. And I'll give you a relatable example. Omo Eleshowore, for example, is one of the young, you consider him young, being in his early 50s. You are journalists, you should know better than I do. Maybe you will tell me, I don't know who the chairman of his party is. Who is his DG campaign? Who are his spokesperson? All right, I'm asking too much. Who is his running mate? At least that is required by the constitution to have a running mate. Who is his running mate? I don't want to go deeper to say why the members of the National Working Committee of his party and the NEC of his party. Showore is all in all. It's both the presidential candidate and also his own running mate. Because they detest, you know, he's the founder of his party. And when you try to measure on age, we say you lack the knowledge of history. Because in 1967, when Yakubu Gowon, despite being a general, and the Civil War was eating up, you know, Yakubu Gowon was one of our youngest. Despite being a general, despite being agile, he had to invite Chief Obafemi Awolowo, a man that was almost twice his age, saying, we need your experience as premier, help us. The rest, they say, is history. Two, some people will be campaigning on the platform of saying, I am more educated. That is why they have tried to say somebody's certificate is forged or is non-existent, because they want to prove that by virtue of their education, they should be more qualified. And don't get me wrong, I'm an advocate of education. I believe education is the bedrock of development. Myself, I have my background in economics, an MBA finance major from one of the best business schools in Europe. So I love education. I believe it's important. In fact, I'm one of those that think the budgetary allocation to education should be improved. Perhaps let's dance around 15% and let's see, because societies are built on that bedrock. However, as far as governance is concerned, your education is relevant to the extent that has been proven to deliver good governance. I'll give you a very quick example. In Ghana today, the president has his background in economics. In fact, the vice president went several notch higher. Bachelor's economics, master's economics, that is Mahamudu. PhD economics, he's a scholar. Ghana today, its economy is begging for rescue, despite being in the hands of the most educated in that specific field of economics. No, education is not enough. In 1952, when the state of Israel summoned Albert Einstein, Albert Einstein was a genius, a Nobel laureate, a Nobel Prize winner in physics. It doesn't come by luck. It's a genius. They invited him. This genius, we cannot miss. He was a Jew. Come and be president of Israel. You know what Einstein said? The man replied and said, see, look, my academic brilliance aside, I do not have the natural aptitude and also the experience required to manage people. Leadership is a talent. Some are born with it. And it's also a skill. Some have to learn it patiently through the ropes.
Right, and let me latch on the final words there, which you talked about leadership.